Since man took to the sea, stories of monsters have followed them back to shore. But while legends of serpents, mega sharks, and krakens have found basis in science and fact, a sea monster off the Alaskan coast remains undocumented. A local legend for centuries, the first intriguing evidence of the creature was captured in 1969.
I heard stories from when I first got here 50 years ago.
That thing was huge under the water.
After going dormant, it once again resurfaced.
Something's big and something's living with us.
I really don't know what it was.
Ambushing boats at deep water sea level.
The bites on the actual ribs.
And many believe it to still be lurking in the cold Alaskan waters.
This is it.
To this day.
Dude, it's getting louder.
Hey, you gotta come see this. Look at this.
What is that?
In the mid-20th century, scientist Ivan Sanderson set out to separate fact from fiction. He investigated hundreds of frightening encounters with unexplained creatures around the world.
Our next guest tonight is one of the world's leading naturalists, accumulating material for some 30 years.
As the founder of cryptozoology, he built the most extensive archive of unclassified creatures on Earth.
There seem to be a lot of these creatures on our continent, in South America and Africa, and all over Asia.
But following his death in the 1970s, that archive disappeared. Until now. Armed with modern tech and Sanderson's lost research,
we need to take this and compare it to what's in the archives.
A team of experts will reinvestigate his unexplained cases using up-to-the-minute research and predator expertise.
I've never seen wildlife do this. There's nothing like that should be doing that here.
Holy. Can Sanderson's files lead to an incredible new insight and take another creature from myth
Did you see that?
to reality?
It's the Kodiak sea monster. One of my favorites. A big one in Sanderson's archives. The vast expanse of the ocean, the strange alien terrain. There's a lot we don't know.
Sanderson believed the elusive creature, named the Kodiak sea monster, is a 150-foot prehistoric relic. According to indigenous accounts, the creature lives and feeds in the deep trenches close to shore. But in 1969, a boat captain may have captured the most compelling evidence yet.
Retired Coast Guard, well-respected Captain Stanley Lee actually sent Ivan Sanderson many distressed type of letters talking about the fact that a local shrimp boat actually got an image of what looks like a dinosaur on a Simrad reed.
This letter from Captain Stan Lee is one of great mystery. Lee is a seasoned seafarer for over 3 decades, and he wrote to me that one day off the shores of Kodiak, a rather large creature was detected, over 50 fathoms below the water's surface, spanning over 100 feet long on the Simrad.
So Simrad started in World War II. It used sound waves to find objects under the water. So it would use echo sound. So the transmitter would function like a megaphone, and it sends a big beam of sound through the sea. And once it hits something, those sound waves reflect back up, and then that data is translated to produce something like that.
When this went into publication on a newspaper, they had the original Simrad strip, and it would look like this. And in order for them to see what they wanted them to see, they zoomed in on that strip. So that's why this is heavily pixelated.
It was possibly altered, but either way,
it's a massive animal. I mean, we know that we have whales that size, but obviously not that. But taking it back to Stanley's messages, Ivan Sanderson believed that there was the possibility of a prehistoric animal living in the waters off the coast of Kodiak. I really do believe that we were looking at a possibility of a type of plesiosaur.
The plesiosaurus was an apex predator marine reptile that first appeared 203 million years ago. The dinosaur could grow to the size of a tractor trailer and had hundreds of needle-like teeth set in a crushing jaw.
So we're talking about a giant prehistoric creature.
Yeah, basically. If you look at this, you can actually see a type of body with a long neck and a tail, and triangular-looking fins.
The Kodiak sea monster has been compared to what was supposed to be extinct prehistoric creature, the plesiosaur. In theory, it's possible that some of these could still exist today within our ocean because only a certain percentage has been discovered.
In 1971, people claimed to see something break the surface of the water near Raspberry Strait. The creature was believed to be almost 100 feet long with an elongated neck.
Then in 2002, there was a sighting off Raspberry Strait.
And in 2014, there was a sighting of a spiked creature chasing orcas.
Sightings still are happening to date at the same location. In fact, there's a surfer that literally just had a sighting of like a huge triangular fin that came out of the water. He had it around the same location as where the Mylark actually picked up the original image. This is a guy that's literally on the water all the time. He's used to seeing different types of marine life. He would know the difference between an orca and a blue whale.
The ocean is huge. There's deep ravines. We can't possibly cover enough ground, so we need to really lean on technology and Sanderson's research. We've got a few key pieces of evidence here that I think we can really work with. We have the surfer's account, right? That's a current day account of someone seeing something. Sanderson left us a depth in his notes that we should be looking at, 300 feet. And then we have the Kodiak Simrad from the archive.
Right.
I think we have enough to get started.
Large unpleasantnesses, or sea monsters, if you will, appear to be exceptionally common around the Kodiak Sea. Further, this seems to be the one part of the world where they have not been satisfactorily explained as any known animals. Some of them have not been explained at all.
Kodiak Island is a part of the Aleutian Island chain. This whole entire island is surrounded by nothing but water. And what's amazing is that we also have these little inlet channels that come in close to a lot of the main fishing areas in town.
Kodiak Island, which sits 100 miles off the Alaskan coast, is as remote as it is punishing. With harsh winters, treacherous coastlines, and the most dangerous predators on Earth. But according to Sanderson, there could be another apex predator lurking beneath the surface. And Charlie and Brittany have assembled the team in Alaska to attempt to document it.
So Ivan ultimately had two culprits on the table. One was the possibility of the plesiosaur genus, but also on the other side, he was looking into the long neck grouping of the pinnipedes, like the long neck seal groups.
If it's a biological being,
Yeah.
the usual suspects that are gonna be around this area and the water, you're gonna have the sharks, seals, sea lions.
Killer whale.
Killer whale, yeah, 100%.
So the Simrad has it estimated at between 150 and 180 feet long. If you look at the largest marine reptile in the fossil record that we've recovered, it's nowhere near that long.
We've got locals that are seeing something similar to what we're looking at on the Simrad Reef. It didn't just happen once. The accounts continue to happen all the way up until today. We have boats being hit, almost seeming targeted. Whale carcasses coming up, just dead right on the beach.
In early 2024, locals discovered the beached carcass of a Cuvier's beaked whale with unexplained bite marks and no other obvious cause of death. This rarely seen species seldom comes near shore with a habitat at depths of over 10,000 feet.
I think we should get together and get out to the beach. We can look for predatorial bites.
Yes.
Barks. We have to see a body. We can determine by what we see on the body.
We have to rule out like scavengers and predators on land, which should be easy to do as far as bite marks go.
Have we given any thought to that? It might not be an animal. It could be a submarine or something of that nature because there's so many bases, and you've got the Coast Guard, you've got the Navy. Those are both waterborne. I think in a situation like this, where you have a place like Kodiak that is home to a few military installations and has been for 80 years, so there's no question that there were submersibles. It's plausible that they weren't testing some kind of a new submersible under the water.
Right now, the investigation is wide open. Tracy will continue her investigation. Troy and Justin are off to find the beached Cuvier's beaked whale. And Brittany and I, we're going to interview a surfer who had a recent encounter not far from where the Simrad image was captured 54 years ago.
All right, let's run it.
I believe that there is something truly incredible still lurking in our ocean because it's so vast and undiscovered and uncharted. And we don't know yet a lot about these prehistoric creatures. I believe it's possible something like this could exist.
Brittany and Charlie head to the eastern shore, hoping that a surfer's recent account can tell them where to start their investigation.
Why does it have to be so cold?
Oh, hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey.
My name's Ryan Murdoch. I'm a Kodiak local, and I've been surfing these waters for 20 years.
So can you tell us about your encounter?
My buddies and I were out surfing, and it was kind of a windy day, so we decided that we wanted to go to this point that was a little bit more sheltered from the wind. I caught a wave into the beach, and I was paddling back out to my friends, and I looked behind them, and there's this giant triangle sticking up out of the water. It's probably 10 to 20 feet tall, and the base was probably 15 or 20 feet wide.
That's massive.
Significant.
I was like, that's not a rock. Then I point, and their eyes bug out. They just start paddling in as quick as they can. But I kind of stayed and watched it for a minute because I kind of wanted to figure out what it was. It submerged into the water in kind of a weird way. I could see around the object was a big boil, which in surfer terms is an upwelling of water. We're looking, trying to see if it was a whale or what would come back up to the surface, and we never saw anything come back, so we were kind of perplexed. What the heck was that?
If a fin is roughly 20 feet, I mean, we're looking at an animal that has to be 90 feet or more.
This account tells us that something very large is rising from the depths. And the boil or upwelling water could mean that there's a trench below the encounter where the creature descended. In my mind, that's where we have to go. We're gonna need a boat and sonar so we can find out where this thing lives.
On the west side of Kodiak, Troy and Justin are heading to a reported beaked whale that is washed up on shore.
Beautiful, isn't it? It is pretty. We're gonna look for some bear tracks because we've seen the reports with the bears feeding on the whale carcasses.
Trying to see if there's anything different out here besides human and deer.
No other tracks yet.
Let's get closer to the water here.
Bears are opportunistic and can often be seen feeding on beached sea life. Since a whale carcass would offer animals food for months, Troy and Justin's plan is to find and follow recent bear tracks that will hopefully lead them to the predator's last meal.
Bear right here, Jay.
Here we go.
Jay.
Yeah,
you got a bear here, big one.
All right, so he's coming this way.
Still going. This one actually is going towards a ridge.
So we're gonna follow the tracks of the bear. It's going that way. We're gonna go back towards where he came from. Hopefully we can pick it up on the other side of the stream here and possibly find something he was feeding on. Hey, it looks like we're getting close.
What do you think that is?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell with just the vertebrae.
Jake, look at this. Look at him, dude.
Where the ribs go?
I was just talking to my otter friends. There's a whole bunch of my friends.
So many of them. He's still yelling.
Brittany and Charlie have enlisted boat captain Lucas Berry to help find where a surfer saw a mysterious sea creature retreat beneath the sea, and where in 1969, a Simrad documented the monster at 300 feet.
After talking to Ryan, our eyewitness, honestly, I now have a new perspective out here, and I think what he saw
was a deep-sea creature at the top of its predation pattern.
The surfer said he saw an upwell. That's when the nutrient-rich, deep seawater quickly rises to the surface. And some creatures follow that food silo when they feed.
So the goal here is to ID any canyons or trenches offshore.
Because that could be where our creature is hiding.
This is the transducer. Normally this would be mounted onto the back of the boat, but we're just gonna rig this up to this 2x4 and drop it into the water.
And this will give us a reading of how deep the water is under the boat?
Correct.
So what we're doing right now is using sonar to try to identify a deep underwater canyon, because what we think this predator might be doing is lurking down in the depths and then coming up higher to feed.
Ivan Sanderson's files and eyewitness accounts all indicate that the mysterious creature hunts along the steep underwater shelves that are unique to the coastal geography of Alaska and Kodiak.
So basically, there's two parts to our experiment today. The first involves a state-of-the-art sonar device, which we're going to use to try to find these underwater shelves.
The other thing we're looking for is areas where there's a density of potential food for this creature. This thing was thought to be twice the size of a blue whale, so it could be hunting whales, sharks.
And out here, there's a lot of big prey for predators.
What's that?
That's probably a lot of little fish.
That's a big, massive little fish then, right? Would that be something maybe the whale would eat?
A lot of little fish. Yeah, whales would eat
Come
that.
through and eat through that?
Are you seeing any sudden changes in the depths?
I mean, there's a pretty good drop here. I mean, this goes from 170 to 700, 800. It's like a ledge.
This is our spot, right here.
Using the Raymarine sonar, we were actually able to find a really good trench. It's a little bit deeper, closer to shore.
We could be floating above the habitat of the Kodiak sea monster.